How would your life change if you had the power to face any challenge with unshakable calm, razor-sharp clarity, and unwavering resilience? The answer lies in the timeless wisdom of Stoicism. Stoicism isn't just an ancient philosophy. It's a practical, actionable framework for living your best life in the modern world. It's a roadmap to personal growth, self-mastery, and a life of purpose and meaning. In this video, we'll take you on a journey through 12 life-changing Stoic principles that have the power to revolutionize the way you think, act, and navigate the ups and downs of existence. From embracing change and focusing on what you can control to cultivating gratitude and living in the present moment, these insights will equip you with the tools you need to thrive in any circumstance. Before we start talking about these transformative 12 lessons, I would like to thank you for watching this video. And in order to fully absorb this 200-year-old wisdom, make sure you stay till the very end and so you can transform your own life with this knowledge. Thank you for watching, and welcome to this Stoic journey. Number 1. Focus on what you can control. One of the most foundational principles of Stoicism is to focus your energy and attention on what lies within your control, while accepting what is beyond your power to change. Many people expend their mental and emotional resources worrying about and trying to control external events, other people's opinions and behaviors, and outcomes that they ultimately cannot determine. This leads to frustration, anxiety, and a sense of powerlessness. Instead, the Stoics counsel us to direct our efforts towards the things we can actually impact: our own thoughts, judgments, actions, and attitudes. We have the power to choose how we perceive and respond to events, even if we can't control the events themselves. We can consciously decide what to give our attention to, the perspective we will take, and the behaviors we will engage in. By focusing inwardly, we can cultivate self-mastery and live according to our values regardless of our circumstances. For example, let's say you are stuck in traffic and late for an important meeting. Getting angry at the traffic is a waste of energy. You can't control the cars around you, but you can control your own response. You could choose to view it as an opportunity to practice patience, listen to a podcast, or brainstorm ideas. You could decide to take responsibility by calling ahead to let them know you'll be late. These are constructive actions within your control. At the same time, this principle reminds us to practice acceptance regarding all that we can't control. Other people's words and deeds, natural disasters, economic swings, sickness, and ultimately death. Resisting these unchangeable realities only makes us suffer. By accepting them as inevitable parts of the human condition, we free ourselves from futile struggle against them. We can focus our energies where they'll actually make a difference. Number 2, practice self-discipline. The Stoics placed great emphasis on self-discipline as a key virtue and a path to personal freedom. They recognized that we are constantly bombarded by desires, fears, temptations, and distractions that can pull us away from our values and goals. By cultivating self-control, we can stay true to ourselves and avoid being enslaved by our impulses. Self-discipline involves managing our desires and emotions rather than letting them control us. It's about having mastery over ourselves, our wants, habits, reactions, and choices. The Stoics advocated for moderation and balance, rather than swinging between extremes of indulgence and deprivation. They aimed to maintain equilibrium and inner stability regardless of external ups and downs. One way to practice self-discipline is to intentionally put ourselves in challenging situations that require self-control. For example, fasting for a day to practice resisting hunger, maintaining our composure when insulted to practice emotional regulation, or sticking to a fitness plan when we'd rather slack off. By exercising our self-discipline muscles in small ways, we prepare ourselves to stay firm in our convictions when it really counts. Self-discipline also involves making decisions aligned with our long-term well-being, even when there are short-term costs. It's choosing the salad over the fries, the study session over the party, the honest conversation over the easy lie. The Stoics believed that by consistently making principled choices, we shape our character and move closer to the person we want to become. Importantly, Self-discipline in the Stoic view is not about harsh self-denial or self-flagellation. It's a tool for self-mastery and personal freedom. By being in command of ourselves, we can override negative habits, make conscious choices, and be truly autonomous agents, not pushed around by passing whims. As Epictetus put it, no man is free who is not master of himself. Ultimately, the Stoic emphasis on self-discipline recognizes that our habits and choices shape who we are. By aligning our actions with our values, resisting unhelpful impulses, and maintaining balance, we can progressively transform ourselves. Self-discipline is the path to becoming our best selves and living with dignity, integrity, and self-determination. It's a demanding practice, but one the Stoics saw as essential to a life well lived. Number 3. Embrace challenges as opportunities. The Stoics had a unique perspective on the challenges and adversities we face in life. Rather than seeing them merely as misfortunes to be endured or lamented, they viewed them as opportunities for growth, learning, and the development of character. They believed that it is not what happens to us but how we respond to it that truly matters. In the face of obstacles and setbacks, we have a choice. We can view them as unfair punishments, wallow in self-pity, and feel victimized by circumstances beyond our control. Or, we can choose to see them as challenges to be met head-on, tests of our resilience and resourcefulness, and chances to prove and improve ourselves. The Stoics encouraged actively embracing difficulties as opportunities to practice virtues like courage, patience, ingenuity, and perseverance. They saw challenging times as when we can truly show what we're made of and forge our character. Just as physical resistance makes our muscles grow stronger, they believed that psychological resistance, in the form of adversity, strengthens our mind and spirit. For example, losing a job could be viewed as a catastrophe, or it could be seen as a chance to reevaluate one's career path, learn new skills, and demonstrate adaptability. A health crisis could be a cause for despair, or an opportunity to prioritize what matters, cultivate gratitude, and develop fortitude. Failures can be proofs of our inadequacy or valuable lessons on the way to ultimate success. Moreover, the Stoics pointed out that challenges are inevitable parts of the human experience. No one escapes hardship. So rather than hoping for a life free of problems, which is unrealistic, we should develop the inner strength to handle any problem that comes our way. We should train ourselves to be resilient and resourceful, so we can meet life's challenges with equanimity and even enthusiasm. This doesn't mean denying the pain of difficult experiences or taking a masochistic delight in suffering, but it does mean recognizing our power to find meaning, growth, and opportunity in even the darkest of times. It means trusting in our ability to adapt, learn, and overcome. It means focusing not on what's happening to us, but on how we choose to respond. By embracing challenges as opportunities, we shift from a passive, victimized stance to an active, empowered one. We see ourselves not as helpless pawns of fate, but as capable agents who can extract value from any situation. This attitude builds resilience, self-confidence, and a sense of control over our lives. It allows us to grow through what we go through and to come out the other side stronger, wiser, and more self-assured. Number 4, live in accordance with virtue. At the heart of Stoic philosophy is the idea that we should live in accordance with virtue. For the Stoics, virtue was the highest good and the key to a fulfilling life. They identified 4 cardinal virtues that they believed should guide our actions and decisions: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Wisdom, in the Stoic sense, is not just about accumulating knowledge, but about understanding how to live well. It involves discerning what is truly important, making rational decisions, and aligning our actions with our values. Wisdom is about seeing things clearly, without being swayed by ego, desire, or fear. It's about knowing when to act and when to accept, when to speak and when to listen. Justice for the Stoics went beyond legal or punitive measures. It was about treating others with fairness, respect, and compassion. It involved recognizing our shared humanity, fulfilling our duties to society, and acting with integrity in all our dealings. The Stoics believed that we are all part of a larger whole, and that we should contribute to the common good. Courage, in Stoic philosophy, does not mean absence of fear, but the ability to act rightly in the face of fear. It's about standing up for what we believe in, even when it's difficult or unpopular. It's about facing challenges head-on, enduring hardships with resilience, and maintaining our principles under pressure. Courage is not about recklessness or bravado, but about moral fortitude. Temperance, or self-control, is about moderating our desires and impulses. It's about exercising restraint and balance, avoiding extremes of indulgence or deprivation. The Stoics believed that many of our troubles stem from unregulated desires for things we don't control, like wealth, status, or pleasure. By practicing temperance, we can find contentment and maintain equanimity in the face of life's ups and downs. Living in accordance with these virtues is not about perfection, but about consistent effort and progress. It's about making them habitual patterns of thought and action. The Stoics believed that by embodying these virtues, we fulfill our nature as rational, social beings. We become the best version of ourselves and live in harmony with the natural order. Importantly, virtue in the Stoic view is its own reward. We should be honest because it's right, not because we fear getting caught. We should be courageous because it's noble, not because we seek glory. The satisfaction and self-respect that come from living with integrity are the true prizes. Of course, living virtuously is not always easy. It can involve tough choices, personal sacrifices, and going against the crowd. But the Stoics believed it was the path to true happiness, inner peace, and a sense of meaning. By orienting our lives around virtue, we focus on what is truly in our control, our own character. Number 5. Cultivate mindfulness. Cultivating mindfulness involves engaging fully with our current experience, whether it's a task we're working on, a conversation we're having, or a walk we're taking. It means noticing the details of our environment, the sensations in our body, and the flow of our thoughts without judgment. It's about being awake to life as it's actually unfolding, not lost in mental abstractions. The Stoics pointed out that the present moment is truly all we ever have. The past is gone, the future is not yet here, and our life is lived in an ongoing succession of present moments. By being fully in the now, we can live more intentionally and appreciatively. We can respond to situations more effectively without the baggage of past resentments or future fears. One Stoic practice for cultivating mindfulness is the view from above exercise. This involves mentally zooming out from your current situation and imagining viewing it from high above, like from a mountaintop or even from space. This cosmic perspective can help put our problems in context, reminding us of how small they are in the grand scheme of things. It can also foster a sense of interconnectedness and wonder at the vastness of existence. Another Stoic technique is to practice negative visualization, imagining losing what we currently have. By mentally rehearsing the loss of our possessions, abilities, or loved ones, we can cultivate gratitude for them while we have them. This can jolt us out of taking things for granted and help us appreciate the gift of the present. Mindfulness doesn't mean we never plan or reminisce, but it does mean we do so intentionally, not reactively. We can choose to reflect on the past to learn from it, or plan for the future to shape it, but we do so from a grounded presence in the now. We can also appreciate that ultimately the present is the only time in which we can take action or experience life. Cultivating mindfulness is a lifelong practice, not a one-time achievement. Our minds naturally wander, and that's okay. The Stoic approach is to gently bring our attention back to the present whenever we notice it has drifted. Over time, we can train ourselves to be more consistently present and engaged. By cultivating mindfulness, we can live more richly and effectively. We can savor life's joys, navigate its challenges with clarity, and make the most of each irreplaceable moment. As Marcus Aurelius put it, each of us lives only now, this brief instant. The rest has been lived already or is impossible to see. Number 6. Practice gratitude. Gratitude, in the Stoic view, is not just a feeling but a practice. It involves regularly taking time to acknowledge and savor the positive aspects of our lives. This can include basic necessities like food, shelter, and health, as well as relationships, experiences, and personal qualities. The Stoics believed that by consistently directing our attention to what we're grateful for, we train our minds to notice and appreciate the good. One way they practiced gratitude was through a daily exercise called counting blessings. At the end of each day, they would reflect on the events of the day and identify 3 things they were thankful for. These could be big or small, from a beautiful sunset to a kind word from a friend to a challenging problem solved. By making this a regular habit, they wove gratitude into the fabric of their lives. The Stoics also cultivated gratitude by imagining life without the things they valued. They would mentally rehearse losing their possessions, abilities, or loved ones. This practice, known as negative visualization, might sound pessimistic, but it served to sharpen their appreciation for what they had while they had it. It fostered a sense of life's impermanence and preciousness. Importantly, the Stoics were not advocating for a Pollyanna-ish denial of life's hardships. They fully acknowledged the reality of suffering and loss, but they believed that even in difficult circumstances, there are always things to be grateful for, even if it's just the opportunity to practice virtues like courage or patience. Gratitude for them was a way to find the good in every situation. The benefits of gratitude, from a Stoic perspective, are manifold. It can provide a sense of perspective, reminding us of how much we have even when things seem bleak. It can foster a sense of connection and interdependence as we recognize how much of what we value comes from others. It can generate feelings of contentment and sufficiency, counteracting the endless pursuit of more. And it can make us more resilient in the face of adversity, as we focus on what we still have rather than only on what we've lost. Cultivating gratitude doesn't mean we never strive for more or better. The Stoics believed in setting goals and working diligently to achieve them. But they also believed in appreciating the journey, not just the destination. They saw gratitude as a way to find joy and meaning in the present, while still moving towards the future. In our modern world of constant comparison and consumerism, the Stoic practice of gratitude is perhaps more relevant than ever. By intentionally focusing on what we're thankful for, we can step off the hedonic treadmill of always wanting more. We can cultivate a sense of sufficiency and appreciate the richness already present in our lives. We can shift our gaze from what's missing to what's present, and in doing so, find a deeper sense of contentment and resilience. As Epictetus put it, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." Number 7. Reflect on your actions and values. One of the cornerstones of Stoic philosophy is the practice of regular self-reflection and self-examination. The Stoics believed that to live a life of wisdom, virtue, and fulfillment, we must consistently scrutinize our own thoughts, feelings, and actions. We must ensure that we are living in alignment with our values, and that our conduct is guided by reason and integrity, not just by impulse or circumstance. This practice of self-reflection is not about idle navel-gazing or self-absorption. It's a purposeful and structured process of holding ourselves accountable to our own standards and aspirations. It's about taking an honest look at how we're showing up in the world and whether we're embodying the principles we claim to hold dear. The Stoics had several specific techniques for self-reflection. One was the daily practice of the evening review. At the end of each day, they would mentally review the events of the day, examining their actions, reactions, and decisions. They would ask themselves questions like, did I act with wisdom and virtue? Did I treat others with kindness and respect? Did I make the best use of my time? Did I let myself be controlled by desire or aversion? By regularly assessing their conduct, they could identify areas for improvement and reinforce positive habits. Another Stoic practice was keeping a personal journal for self-reflection. Writing down our thoughts and experiences can provide a valuable space for processing emotions, gaining perspective, and tracking our growth over time. The Stoics used journaling as a tool for self-coaching, offering themselves advice, encouragement, and correction. They also used it to record insights, quotes, and examples that could guide their future conduct. Importantly, Stoic self-reflection is not about perfection, but progress. The Stoics acknowledge that we are all works in progress, prone to mistakes and lapses. What matters is that we keep striving to align our actions with our values, and that we use our missteps as opportunities for learning and growth. Self-reflection is a way to keep ourselves honest, accountable, and committed to our own personal development. This practice of self-examination also serves to clarify and strengthen our sense of purpose and integrity. By regularly reflecting on what truly matters to us and how well we're living up to it, we can develop a stronger internal compass. We can make decisions and take actions that are consistently guided by our deepest values and aspirations, rather than being blown about by external pressures or passing whims. In the bustle and noise of daily life, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture of who we want to be and how we want to live. Regular self-reflection creates a space for us to reconnect with our core values, reassess our priorities, and realign our lives with what we hold most dear. It's a way to ensure that we're not just reacting to life, but intentionally shaping it in accordance with our principles. Of course, self-reflection is not always comfortable. It can involve facing our own shortcomings, contradictions, and areas for growth. But the Stoics saw this discomfort as necessary for personal development. As Seneca put it, "I will keep constant watch over myself and, most usefully, will put each day up for review. For this is what makes us evil, that none of us looks back upon our own lives." Number 8, develop resilience. The capacity to cope with adversity, adapt to change, and recover from setbacks is a central theme in Stoic philosophy. The Stoics recognize that life is full of challenges, disappointments, and upheavals. They believed that true happiness and fulfillment come not from avoiding these difficulties, but from developing the inner strength to meet them with grace, courage, and equanimity. For the Stoics, resilience is not just a trait, but a practice, something we can deliberately cultivate and strengthen over time. It involves developing mental and emotional strategies to navigate life's ups and downs, to find opportunity in adversity, and to maintain our sense of purpose and integrity in the face of obstacles. One key aspect of Stoic resilience is reframing our perceptions of adversity. The Stoics advise that we should view challenges not as unmitigated misfortunes, but as opportunities for growth and the exercise of virtue. They believed that external events are neutral. It's our judgments about them that cause us distress. By changing our perceptions, we can change our emotional responses and increase our capacity to cope. For example, losing a job could be seen as a catastrophe, or it could be viewed as a chance to reassess one's priorities, learn new skills, and explore new opportunities. A health crisis could be a cause for despair, or it could be an invitation to cultivate gratitude, strengthen relationships, and develop inner fortitude. By consciously choosing our perspective, we can find the silver lining in even the darkest cloud. Another aspect of Stoic resilience is focusing on what is within our control. The Stoics emphasize that while we can't control external events, we can always control our own thoughts, attitudes, and actions. By directing our energy towards what we can influence, rather than worrying about what we can't, we can maintain a sense of agency and empowerment, even in challenging circumstances. The Stoics also advocated for developing self-discipline and mental toughness through voluntary discomfort. They would deliberately practice enduring hardships, like fasting, wearing simple clothing, or sleeping on a hard floor, to build their resilience muscles. By exposing themselves to minor discomforts, they trained themselves to handle major ones. They believed that by expanding our comfort zone, we expand our capacity to cope. Importantly, Stoic resilience is not about suppressing emotions or denying the reality of pain. The Stoics acknowledged that adversity is inherently unpleasant, but they believed that we have the power to choose our response, to feel our emotions fully, but not be overwhelmed by them, to acknowledge our pain, but not be defined by it. Resilience is about developing emotional agility, the ability to navigate life's ups and downs with flexibility and fortitude. Cultivating resilience also involves taking care of ourselves physically, emotionally, and socially. The Stoics emphasize the importance of self-care practices like exercise, rest, and healthy eating to maintain our energy and equilibrium. They also valued the support of friends, family, and community in weathering life's storms. Resilience is not about going it alone, but about knowing when to lean on others and when to offer support in turn. Number 9. Cultivate empathy and compassion. While Stoicism is often associated with self-mastery and individual resilience, the Stoics also placed great emphasis on empathy, compassion, and our duties to others. They recognized that we are all part of a larger human community, and that our well-being is deeply interconnected. They believed that to live a life of virtue and fulfillment, we must actively cultivate a sense of concern and care for our fellow human beings. Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, is a key component of Stoic social ethics. The Stoics advised that we should try to see the world through others' eyes, to imagine ourselves in their circumstances. They believed that by understanding others' experiences, we can relate to them more deeply and treat them with greater kindness and respect. One way the Stoics practiced empathy was through the exercise of putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Before judging or criticizing someone, they would mentally step into that person's situation and consider the factors that might be influencing their behavior. They would ask themselves questions like, what might this person be going through? What beliefs or experiences might be shaping their actions? By considering others' perspectives, they could respond with more understanding and less reactivity. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of recognizing our shared humanity. They believed that beneath surface differences of status, wealth, or nationality, we all share the same fundamental desires: to be happy, healthy, and free from suffering. By focusing on what unites us rather than what divides us, we can cultivate a sense of kinship and concern for all people. This sense of common humanity is the foundation for Stoic compassion, the active desire to alleviate others' suffering. The Stoics believe that we have a duty to help others whenever we can, not out of pity or self-interest, but out of a recognition of our interdependence and shared vulnerability. They saw acts of kindness and generosity not as optional extras, but as integral to a life well lived. Importantly, Stoic compassion is not just about feeling sorry for others, but about taking practical action to help. It's about using our resources, skills, and influence to make a positive difference in others' lives. This might involve volunteering our time, donating money, sharing our knowledge, or simply offering a listening ear or a helping hand. The Stoics believed that by actively working to benefit others, we also benefit ourselves by living in accordance with virtue. Cultivating empathy and compassion doesn't mean that we always agree with others or condone their actions. The Stoics believed in justice and in holding people accountable for their choices. But they also believed in tempering justice with mercy, in seeking to understand before judging, and in offering guidance and correction with kindness rather than cruelty. Practicing empathy and compassion also doesn't mean that we neglect our own needs or become overwhelmed by others' suffering. The Stoics emphasize the importance of maintaining our own equanimity and boundaries while extending care to others. They advise that we should offer help in accordance with our capacity without sacrificing our own integrity or well-being. Ultimately, the Stoic emphasis on empathy and compassion is about recognizing our fundamental interconnectedness. It's about understanding that our individual flourishing is tied to the flourishing of the whole. By actively cultivating a sense of concern and care for others, we not only make the world a bit better, but we also live in greater alignment with our own values and humanity. As Marcus Aurelius put it, we were born to work together like feet, hands, and eyes, like the two rows of teeth, upper and lower. To obstruct each other is unnatural. To feel anger at someone, to turn your back on him, these are obstructions. If you are listening to this, thank you for staying till the end. If you feel any of these Stoic lessons resonated with you today, feel free to start a Stoic discussion in the comments. I welcome Stoic discussions as they are what the great Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca advised for. If you enjoy Stoicism and its philosophy, then our new newsletter, where you can sign up for in the description or comments, is for you. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, and if you want more content like this, subscribe and hit the bell. Thank you for watching, and as always, I hope you find peace and serenity in the Stoic ways.